Now let's move on and let's reset the scene, and the easiest way to do that is to go File and create a new one. And basically what you can see here is the default scene. This can be modified later, so you don't have to, have the cube and the light and the camera each time you open Blender, but this is the default behavior, so I wanted to have it like this. And now we'll go ahead and create the sushi, but before we do, you need to understand the different modes in the viewport. So right now we are in the object mode, as it's indicated right here in the top left corner. And if you click here, you can see a bunch of different modes, but the two most important ones right now for us are object mode and edit mode. There's a lot of confusion sometimes as to which mode you use to what in Blender, so I'll try to explain this as best as possible. But for now, let me just go here in the outliner, and we'll deal with this section later again. I will just use it right now to demonstrate the difference between the object mode and edit mode. So if I expand this little icon right here, you can see there's a cube object, and there's the green icon underneath called cube again. So this is the object, and this is the object data, and in particular this is the mesh data, and there is some material assigned to those data. So you can see the object outlined here in the yellow as a container for some data within, and the data is accessible right here. And basically, if you want to directly access and edit the data underneath, you will need to go to the edit mode. So basically the object mode manipulates the object, the container, and the edit mode manipulates the data inside. So you're using the edit mode to define the shape of the object and stuff like that. So let's now go ahead and switch to edit mode, and you will see the cube lights up and the toolbar change as well. So the toolbar is really contextual, and it's different for edit mode and object mode, even though the transformations are still here, because you can move the data and you can move the container as well in the object mode. Even though the transformation tools are pretty similar as well, but there are a bunch of new tools that are useful if you want to manipulate your object data, or in this case mesh. This whole thing is called mesh, and it kind of consists from these small dots which are called vertices. One of them is called vertex, and you can just click and select one of these vertices and basically manipulate them on their own. So if you, for example, use the move tool, you can move only a single vertex, and that means you modified this green data underneath the container. And if you go to the object mode, now you will see the object looks differently. So now let me go back here, and right here next to the mode you will see the select mode, and right now it's set to vertex select, so we are able to select vertices, and those lines in between them are called edges. And if you want to select those, you will switch this to edge and select these individual edges. And of course there's a third one, the face select mode, and if you choose that one, you are able to select whole faces, or polygons as they are called. So these are the faces, then there are edges and vertices. And now to make the sushi, we'll use this cube, but we'll need to scale it down. So let me zoom out a little bit, and now we'll select everything, but just dragging a selection like this won't work, because if I do that and rotate, you will see this vertex isn't selected because it's obscured by the geometry in front. So to do that successfully, you need to enable the X-ray mode right here, and that will enable you to see through and select everything here. So let me disable that. And now we are able to scale this down, and we are doing it in the edit mode. And as I explained before, the object is the container, the wrapper, and the data underneath, the mesh, defines how the object looks. So if I want to change the shape of the object, its proportions, and edit how it looks, I will go into the edit mode and do it there. And then in the object mode, that's more suitable for positioning that object in the world and maybe scaling here and there. But mostly what I'm interested in when I'm changing the shape of the object, I'm looking to go into the edit mode. So you could easily just go now and use the scale tool right here, but I want to show you a shortcut for this. And to scale something, you can use the S command on the keyboard. It's very easy to remember, S for scale. So you can press S and you will see this tool behaves a little bit differently than if you select it from the toolbar, because you will get this dashed line, and as you move your mouse, you can make this larger and smaller, and you don't need to hold the S button. I just press it once and you immediately go into this interactive tool mode, and basically Blender waits for your command, for your left click to confirm the action, or on the other hand, right click to cancel the action. So if I right click, I will go back. So let me press S again, and then it's very easy to chain these kind of interactive commands, because then I can use Z key, and down in the bottom of the viewport you can see all the different shortcuts that can be chained after using S. So you can see there's a Z for Z axis. That means I can isolate this command only for the Z axis. So let me press Z, and right now I'm just scaling the original cube along the Z axis, which is what I want. So let me go down a little bit and scale it like that and confirm with the left click. So yeah, we just scaled the cube, we modified the shape in the edit mode, and now we are ready to create that very simple stylized sushi. So let's zoom in a little bit. And as you can see on the reference image, there's a hole in the middle here. So to be able to do that, we'll need to add a little bit more geometry to our object. And for that, you can subdivide this. Now, all of these commands are available in the user interface right here. So you can see different commands for select, for mesh, for vertex, for edge, for faces. But there are a handful of them. And if you want a quick access, you can just right click wherever in the screen, in the viewport, and you will get access to those same options. And they're really contextual. So if you're in the vertex mode, you will get the vertex menu. But if you change to the edge select mode, right click will get you the edge context menu, and same for the face menu. So for this, doesn't really matter. You can right click and there will be a subdivide options right here. And if you click it, you basically split the faces in half along each of the axes. So you can see from the top face, we now have 4. And if I do it again, so right click and choose subdivide, I get even more. So again, it's halved. And if I do it again, I will get a double number of faces. But this is enough, because I can see right here in the middle, there are 4 faces that we will be able to work with. So let's go for face select right here and click one of these faces. And you can either click and drag the selection to select multiple faces, or you can hold shift and add to the selection just using single click like this. And with this middle selected, we're now ready to move on and learn a new tool. But before we do, make sure you hit Ctrl S or go File and save your work, and learn to do this as often as possible, because Blender will crash, your computer will crash, something will happen. The best thing to do is to create that habit where you're pressing Ctrl S all the time, so your work is always saved. So let's press Ctrl S to save, and let's move on and learn a new tool.